Most people think you need to spend 5 figures to get a real electric bike. They're wrong. Here's the truth. In 2026, a $100 e-bike will destroy your legs. $1,000 gets you real power. $5,000 feels like a cheat code, but there's a secret sweet spot where you're actually winning. Let's count down from 10 to 1 and find out exactly where you should spend your money. Number 10. $100 to $300. Used and broken bikes. Let's start at the bottom. That $100 e-bike you found on Facebook Marketplace. It's dead weight. And I mean that literally. When you dig into the used market, you're looking at 2 categories. First, there's the 2023 and 2024 overstock. When Rad Power Bikes filed for bankruptcy in late 2025, thousands of their old inventory units flooded eBay and Craigslist at throwaway prices. The frames are decent, but the tech is ancient. A 250-watt hub motor from 5 years ago versus a modern 750-watt motor isn't even the same sport. The second category is legitimately broken stuff people tried to fix and gave up on. Bad battery connectors, controllers that overheat. You buy these thinking you're getting a deal. You're actually buying a money pit. Here's what kills you at this price point. There's no warranty and lithium degrades. After 500 charge cycles, you're looking at severe range loss. If someone's selling it for $200, their battery is dead. They just don't want to admit it. A legitimate new e-bike at this price doesn't exist in 2026. Every UL-certified bike starts at $500 minimum. The math doesn't work. Your time troubleshooting a used bike is worth more than whatever you saved buying it broken. This is where people fool themselves. They think they won. They actually just delayed the problem. If you're looking at $100 bikes, you're not shopping for a vehicle. You're paying for a lesson about why cheap electronics fail. Number 9. $300 to $500 entry-level 250-watt hub motors. Now we climb to the $300 to $500 zone. These are new, sometimes with a warranty. The catch? The motors are entry-level garbage. At this price, you're looking at 250-watt hub motors. That's the legal limit in Europe, but in real life, it's barely functional. A 250-watt motor on flat ground feels okay. Hit a hill, and suddenly you understand why the bike was so cheap. Hub motors at this wattage produce about 30 to 50 newton meters of torque. Power is speed, but torque is the grunt, the actual push. A 250-watt hub motor has almost no grunt. You will push that bike up an incline faster than the motor helps you. Battery capacity at this price? Usually 36 volts with an 8 to 10 amp-hour pack. That's maybe 300 to 400 watt-hours. Real range? 10 to 20 miles. You're not commuting on this. You're just riding around a parking lot. The displays are basic black and white LCDs. The brakes are mechanical discs that need constant adjustment, and safety is where this gets scary. Most budget brands under $500 use batteries that aren't UL2849 certified, meaning they haven't passed strict fire risk testing. You're charging something in your apartment that carries a genuine, albeit small, risk. These bikes don't fail beautifully. Range drops every month. Motor responsiveness gets mushy. By year 2, you're trash-talking the brand to everyone you know. If you're in this zone, double your budget. The next tier up changes everything. Number 8. $500 to $800 folding commuters. Folding bikes at $500 to $800 promise portability with power. They're usually a trap. The Gautrax eFold at $499 and Concord Urban Fold are the main players here. The premise is seductive. A full-function e-bike that fits in your trunk. Unfold it and ride. It should work. It doesn't, and the main issue is frame stiffness. Folding frames require hinges, and hinges are flex points. A heavy rider pedaling hard on a small wheel folding bike puts immense stress on that joint. The bike doesn't feel dangerous, just wiggly, loose. Designers also cram the battery wherever it fits inside the frame, completely throwing off weight distribution. The bike feels nose-heavy or tail-heavy, meaning you're constantly micro-correcting your steering. The Gautrax has a 500-watt motor, but its 16-inch wheels and single-speed gearing mean it's strictly for flat ground. The Concord uses a cheap cadence sensor, giving the motor a jerky on-off feel. Real-world range: 30 miles if you pedal hard. And repair shops hate them. The hinges aren't standardized, so when something breaks, replacement parts are impossible to find. What about storage? Yes, it folds, but you're folding a 50-pound machine. Carrying that up apartment stairs daily will make your knees beg for a gym membership. The folding bike only makes sense for a very specific workflow. Car trunk to destination, ride, fold, car home. For everyone else, you get none of the stability of a full-sized bike and none of the convenience of a car. Number 7. $799 to $999. The sweet spot entry. This zone is where real bikes start existing. Models like the Lectric XP Lite 2.0 at $799 actually deliver. You get a 300-watt motor. It doesn't sound like much, but motor design matters more than raw wattage. Lectric engineers their system around a 48-volt architecture, which is vastly superior to the 36-volt garbage in lower tiers. Torque hits 50 to 65 Newton-meters. You won't outrun a mountain bike, but you'll keep pace with traffic without embarrassing yourself. The real upgrade hits with the $999 Lectric XP4. You get 500 watts, but more importantly, you get a torque sensor. Cheaper bikes use cadence sensors, which act like a jerky on-off switch when you pedal. Torque sensors physically feel how hard you're pushing and adjust the power smoothly. It feels like riding a real bicycle just with bionic legs. At $800, your battery is finally UL2849 certified, safe, tested. The display is a color LCD with actual data. The brakes are hydraulic discs, meaning they stop reliably without weekly fussing. The frame is a sturdy aluminum folding design, weight is around 60 pounds, but it's balanced. The limitation: even the $999 XP4 is still entry-level performance. It doesn't handle heavy cargo well, it struggles on steep hills with a heavier rider. It's perfect for a 150-pound person on modest inclines, but hit the motor's limit and suddenly you're doing all the work. People buy these expecting magic. The bike isn't magic, it's just honest. It's a commuter, and it commutes incredibly well. That's the job. Number 6. $1,000 to $1,500, the smart buyer zone. Here's where the market changes completely. This zone is where smart buyers live. Upgrade to the 750-watt Lectric XP4 at $1,299, and you enter a different tier of capability. A 750-watt motor can sustain effort longer before backing off due to heat. You get up to 85 Newton-meters of torque. Hills stop being stressful and become just another feature of the ride. The battery jumps to 48 volt, 17.5 amp hours. Real range is 50 to 85 miles. You can genuinely skip charging for a week. The Ride 1-Up Portola at $1,095 is the other titan here. It packs 750 watts and uses a sophisticated current-based pedal assist. It reads your force and scales assistance naturally. Front suspension, a built-in rear rack capable of hauling 130 pounds, and a massive ecosystem of accessories. What changes at this tier? Everything. Hydraulic brakes are standard everywhere, quality cables, proper wiring. The battery and motor controller communicate intelligently. Frame geometry is tuned for comfort and carrying capacity, not just serving as a platform to hang a battery. Another massive shift at this tier is security. In 2026, bike theft is a highly organized industry. Cheaper bikes leave you relying on heavy steel locks, but step into the $1,200 to $1,500 range, and brands are integrating native GPS tracking and Apple Find My networks directly into the motor controller. You're not just buying a bike, you're buying peace of mind. The display units often require a PIN code or an NFC keycard to activate the motor. If someone steals it, they're pedaling a heavy dead machine while you track their exact location on your phone. This completely changes the ownership experience for city commuters. Here's what this means in real life. These bikes handle cargo. You can load groceries. A heavy rider doesn't struggle. The Lectric XP4 folds for transport, while the Portola hauls like a pack mule. This is where most people should shop. $1,000 to $1,500 gets you a tool with no compromises and no regrets. 5 to 10 years of ownership is highly realistic. The battery might need replacement around year 5, but the motor will likely outlast the frame. Number 5, $1,500 to $2,500 SUV e-bikes and mid-drives. Jump to $1,500 and you're buying a bike designed for exactly what you do. Here's what changes at this tier. Motor sophistication. You get either ultra-premium hub motors or your first taste of true mid-drives. The Ride 1-Up Vorsa at $1,495 to $1,695 is an SUV e-bike. It packs a 750-watt AKM rear hub motor, pumping out a massive 95 Nm of torque. It transitions from city streets to gravel trails without complaining. The Avenon Adventure 3 is the fat bike standard at around $1,800 to $2,000. 750-watt hub motor, 4-inch wide tires, and suspension that makes the ride incredibly cushioned without feeling slow. It grips snow, loose rock, and gravel. With 80 to 90 Nm of torque, you're not pedaling up hills. The motor is. But the real secret weapon in this tier is the mid-drive motor. The Ride 1-Up Prodigy 5 at $2,295 is the sleeper. It uses a German-engineered Bros mid-drive motor. While hub motors sit in the wheel, mid-drives sit at the pedals and push power through the bike's actual gear system, multiplying force. A 250-watt mid-drive will outclimb a cheap 1,000-watt hub motor any day of the week. This is where the marketing lies collapse. Wattage doesn't tell the whole story. Torque and motor placement do. There is also a hidden upgrade here that nobody puts on the billboard: stopping power and rubber compound. When you're moving a 70-pound bike at 28 miles per hour, standard bicycle tires and cheap brakes are a death wish. At the $2,000 mark, you're getting quad-piston hydraulic brakes with 180 or even 203 mm rotors. They don't just stop you, they stop you predictably in the pouring rain. The tires shift from generic nylon to puncture-resistant, e-bike-specific compounds from brands like Schwalbe or Maxxis. They have thicker sidewalls to handle the immense torque of mid-drive motors and the sheer weight of the battery. You spend less time patching tubes on the side of the road and more time actually riding. Battery sizes jump to 700 watt-hours and above. Range is now 60 to 100 miles real world. You're not thinking about charging, you're just riding. The real upgrade here is the ecosystem. You start seeing Shimano drivetrain parts and Bros Motors. These companies aren't desperate startups. They will support your bike for a decade. At this price, the bike isn't a toy or a backup. It's your primary transportation. Number 4. $2,500 to $4,000. The Premium Specialists. Cross $3,000 and you're in premium territory, a different breed entirely. The CS CFT 1000MD is a $4,000 weapon. It uses a Bafang M620 Ultra mid-drive. This is the most powerful motor on the retail market. We're talking 1,000 plus watts peak and 160 Nm of torque. 40-degree grades, the motor barely feels it. The Segway Safari is another major player here. Full suspension, 130 mm travel up front, 70 mm in the back. A massive 936 watt-hour battery delivering close to 100 miles of range. But here's the catch. It weighs almost 93 pounds. Moving it without riding it is a commitment. Carrying it upstairs is a punishment. But on rough terrain, it's magic. At this tier, the real difference is engineering depth. Weight distribution is calculated precisely. Frame geometry comes from trail testing, not guesses. Bosch Performance Line CX becomes the motor of choice for many bikes here. It offers a 600-watt peak and 85 Nm of torque. It's not the most powerful, but it's the most reliable. Bosch has worked out every single bug. Battery safety reaches paranoia levels with triple-tested, multi-layer protection integrated seamlessly into the down tube. Warranty extends to 4 or 5 years on the frame, 3 on the motor. If something breaks, there's real support, not just a forum post hoping someone else had the same issue. The reality? Most people don't need this tier, but if you carry cargo daily, tackle serious terrain, or weigh over 250 pounds and live in San Francisco, it justifies itself. The bike doesn't complain, it just works. Number 3. $4,000 to $6,000 European Precision. Now you're shopping with your head, not your wallet. At $5,000, you're buying rarity and brand heritage. The Priority Skyline is $4,000. It uses Pinion's Smart Shift gearbox, 12 speeds that shift themselves electronically, no rider input required. Stop at a light, and the gears dial back to low automatically. Add a Gates carbon belt drive, and you have zero chain maintenance. Forever. The i:/SYP12ZR sits around $6,000. It's a compact folding design with full mid-drive performance and that same pinion gearbox. Everything is sealed and protected. You're buying Swiss precision in bike form. These bikes are investments. You're paying for European designers who thought about traditional bicycles for 20 years before they ever touched an electric motor. Canyon's City Light On is a perfect example. A commuter platform with premium components and invisible welds. It's not flashy, it's just incredibly well done. Software at this tier is borderline scary. Systems monitor temperature, voltage, and charge cycles in real time. The battery, motor, and display are constantly talking to each other. This tier also introduces automotive-level safety tech. We are talking about anti-lock braking systems, ABS, for bicycles. Blue Brake and Bosch ABS 2.0 are standard on many $5,000 commuters. Grab a handful of front brake on wet leaves? The system pulses the caliper in milliseconds, preventing the front wheel from washing out and throwing you over the bars. It's the kind of tech you think is a gimmick until the day it saves your collarbone. Then, there's rear-facing radar. Systems integrated with Garmin Varia or proprietary sensors ping your display and sometimes vibrate your handlebars when a car is approaching from behind, telling you exactly how fast they are closing in. You are essentially riding a lightweight electric motorcycle with a pedal assist disguise. The question here isn't whether it'll work. It will. The question is whether you'll use it enough to justify the cost. If you're commuting daily and replacing a car, yes. If you're riding casually on weekends, you're throwing money at a feeling, you're buying the story you tell yourself about why you chose the absolute best. Number 2, $6,000 plus the art market. Above $6,000, you're outside the e-bike market. You're in the bike as art market. Reese & Miller makes cargo bikes that cost $8,000 to $12,000. These are engineering masterpieces. Suspensions are tuned perfectly. These aren't bikes, they're solutions to problems you didn't know you had. Stromer is an even more exclusive play. This Swiss brand starts around $8,000. The bikes feel like they were machined by someone with a personal vendetta against imperfection. At this level, motors aren't necessarily more powerful, they're more intelligent, they learn your riding style, they adjust assistance based on terrain via Bluetooth, they are full systems. Batteries are integrated so seamlessly you can't see them from certain angles. Frames use custom geometry. At the very high end, a designer measures your size, weight, and riding style to build a frame specifically for your dimensions. You are buying perfection. Every component is chosen because it is the absolute best available for that specific application. You also buy access to a high-end dealer network and priority service infrastructure. Professional riders need this. People who log 10,000 miles a year need this. The real question at $10,000 isn't whether the bike works. It's whether it makes you happy. Because if you spend this much and aren't thrilled, you made a massive mistake. Number 1. The truth. Here's what this countdown actually means. From $100 to $1,000, you're jumping from broken to functional. From $1,000 to $2,000, you're jumping from a commuter to a specialist. $2,000 to $5,000 takes you from a tool to a system. And above $5,000, you're jumping from a system to a philosophy. Most people need a $1,000 bike, maybe $1,500 if you have serious hills. The rest is chasing diminishing returns. Here's the dirty secret nobody talks about. A properly maintained $1,000 e-bike will outlast a $6,000 bike if the owner of the expensive one doesn't care for it. Materials and engineering only go so far if you don't maintain them. The $1,000 tier changed e-bikes in 2026. Lectric and Ride 1Up proved that quality doesn't require 5 figures, destroying the excuse that e-bikes are too expensive. The $2,000 tier is where bikes get real personality, mid-drive motors, torque sensors, and legacy components. Beyond that, you're shopping by emotion. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you don't lie to yourself. The cheap bikes teach you why entry-level compromises suck. The mid-tier teaches you to stop thinking about price and start thinking about value. The high-end teaches you that perfection is real and it's expensive. The truth is simple. Buy the bike that fits your terrain and your mileage, not your dreams, not your Pinterest board, your actual life. Everything else is just marketing.